Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have my guest Harry Derbitsky for the third time. Welcome, Harry.
Hi, nice to see you. Three times, or three times lucky, I guess.
I don't know how it came like this, but I'm so happy for it. I really love to do it because I feel that I also things happens to me when we have this conversation, and
That's the idea. Like, we did something a little bit different. Instead of just doing a guest speaker podcast, we did more like a session together. And
yeah,
and whenever that happens, rather than just talking at the audience or talking at the person, the reason I wanted to do that with you is because I wanted to combine being a guest on your show and also to guide you in a way that I do, and to show you how easy it is to guide another person. Because basically, I don't do it like most other people do, and because I don't talk about the psychological element first. I talk about how to raise the feeling. And once that feeling is touched by both of us, that's healing. And when that healing happens, I have no idea how it heals. I don't know where it heals, how it heals, what it heals, but I know it heals. And that's all I need to know. And the reason I know it heals is because it heals me too. You're healing me by allowing me to share with you. You see, it's the allowing that makes it happen. It's not the fact one person theoretically is a higher level and another person's a lower level. That's nonsense. What happens is we met at a common point, and that's healing.
like friends.
Yeah, like friends, like a cup of coffee with friends,
Yeah,
where we're not just talking about the weather or the political system. We're talking about deeper philosophical
yeah.
and spiritual topics. So we're using the words, which is empty, but we're filling the words up with things that interest our minds. You see, our minds are connected to God's mind. But if you're always talking about politics and the way of the world, et cetera, you're really distorting yourself. But when you touch these higher topics, you touch love. And the love, of course, as you know, being a woman, love is a good one. And you do like love,
I
don't you?
do. And I feel so comfortable in our conversations. It feels like I'm worth something, and I can also be myself. I can relax, and that allows me to also share. I
Yeah.
don't I don't feel so little, so I can I can.
Well, see, I want to emphasize, I don't do that, or that doesn't happen by accident. Sid modeled that. You see, all I'm doing, a lot of people don't realize the privilege of being around Sid. It wasn't just listening to him, it was observing how he taught. And and although I couldn't hear a lot of the message then, I could, as the years have gone by, a lot of the way that he teaches, which is just what you talked about, is I learned from him, the master. And of course, he always emphasized it starts with me. I have to have that comfortable feeling. to allow you to have a comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And so you're doing the same for me. And so we hit a very gentle bond together. And that gentle bond allowed us to dance with the spirit. So come dance with me, Cecilia. And
Yeah, and you point with all your pictures and on Facebook that it's good to have fun.
yeah, it's
And sometimes we take life so serious. I really take life serious sometimes, and you remind me of to relax more and just like children have fun.
yeah, I'm a child. So that's what the free principles have allowed me to uncover in myself, is that childlike quality, that even though I'm an older man, I'm still a younger older man. And the reason for that is I found I'm no good in seriousness. I'm just no good in it. I'm not, like, some people are good at it, but I'm not good in it. I don't like it. I don't, and I'm interested in uncovering my potential, my being, and I can't do that intellectually. So as the intellect becomes less of an emphasis, the intuitive becomes the norm, and the fun can be accessed through the intuitive. You cannot access fun through the intellect. You can enjoy your intellect. You can appreciate your intellect because it's part of mind. But if it's just the focus of everything that you're doing, it's only form. And Sid very clearly stated formless and form, not just form. And so when people worship the form, success, results, they have lost the game. They may have money, they may have this or that, but they just don't have a nose for the good stuff. They have a nose for money, but they don't have a nose for the good stuff. And you see, in truth, things come along, but you have to see it. There's seeing and seeing. You have to see it when something comes along. And if you can't see it, that's on you. But what you're finding is you're starting to see it. And you're starting to say, yes, I like that. Yes, that sounds like a fun idea. And what happens when you accept a fun idea? What do you experience?
Yeah, I let go of every beliefs and the seriously thoughts. I can relax and have fun, and I feel passion for some things I do, like this, the recordings I do nowadays on YouTube. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I just want to do and meet a lot of people and talk to them and share with them. And I can't stop. I just feel a passion for it, and something happens to me when I do it.
Yeah, see that maybe you learned a little bit of that from me because I emphasize so much sharing, especially free sharing.
Yeah, and I also do. It's only for free and only for fun. I have my
I don't mean it free. I mean free for you. You get to learn.
Yeah, I get to learn. I get to learn a
Instead of
lot.
charging, some people I charge a lot of money, not too many, because I mostly look for free projects to get involved in. But every once in a while in the year, someone comes along and so on. But what I saw was, if you do something like what you're doing, not only are you sharing, which is a guaranteed way to grow, you get free education
Yeah,
for
I
you.
really do. And I can feel that. I can I can look back to the old recordings and see how I yeah, like I'm healing all the time, more and more, little by little, and see
Well,
more and more.
maybe little by little, but when you look back, it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's not little by little. It's sometimes an inch is a lot, because it's you're in a scenario that you have a lot of negativity, past history built up, and moving an inch is like moving a mountain. Other times you get into an area where you've actually done a lot of work already, and it just opens up a lot more. In many ways, the first one is more important. See, the other one is already mostly free, and this is the final brick in the wall that you have to put in. But the other one is the areas where we have blind spots. And the blind spots don't have to be analyzed. They don't have to be looked at. They just have to be dealt with when God brings them to the surface. And so as you deal with it, you get what you need. And as we know, we're babies. We're just like, really, in honesty, I just an ordinary guy who got lucky. You're just an ordinary gal, and you're just talking about how lucky you got.
I'm lucky to know that I can live more simply, and I can accept that I have those feelings with anger and sadness or everything. It's not that I'm always like smiling all the time. I've got everything, but I feel like I can live more simply with all the feelings.
The reason for that is you're forgiving yourself a lot quicker.
Yeah.
See, you're right. You step into the negativity, but what used to be 2 weeks is 2 minutes. There's a big difference between experiencing negative feelings for 2 minutes versus 2 weeks. And so what you're doing is you are doctoring yourself. It's your wisdom that's doctoring yourself. And it's so cool because you're becoming a better human being, a nicer person, a warmer person. And just the look on your face, how much happier you are. The first time we met, you were kind of like a grizzly bear.
I can't see that I was that. But it's you can't see everything on yourself.
No, you can't. In fact, you're usually the last one, but the reality is that's what it's about. See, when you see yourself, you change, because it's common sense. If all your time in your life, like there was a moment in my life where I had a very bad temper, and then I had an insight that very clearly said to me, this other person has a temper and everything he's saying is wrong, but he believes it. I wonder if when I am mad and angry, if everything I am thinking is wrong. And I dropped it like that, and 98% of my temper disappeared in a second. I'm not saying I never get angry, but the difference is unbelievable. I used to use it as a way to get rid of stress. It's not a very productive way to get rid of stress. It really hurts other people, and it's not a positive way. And so when I dropped it, I didn't have to think about it. I just dropped stopped it. And because it made sense to me. Every time I get angry, it's because I believe what my mind, my ego is telling me. And I'm always wrong. 100% of the time. Only 100%. So when anybody gets angry, they're 100% wrong. And their little mind is feeding them. So you can see how healthy when I stopped that pattern. I became a different person. Just like that. And I didn't do it. I just saw something and it changed. I didn't see any reason to lose my temper anymore. That's what's happening to you. You're just changing because you just don't see any reason to hang around with that stuff.
But I was also nervous the first time we met. And
Yeah.
I'm not nervous like that now,
Yeah,
because
that's
we have
yeah.
met and we have talked, and I meet a lot of people now and talk a lot, and I can rest more with just be me.
You bet. You bet. That's all that happened to me as well. At first, we doubt ourselves. It's only
Yeah.
natural. We've always failed, so why should we succeed now?
Yeah.
But
So I
now,
don't think that I was angry. I was just nervous.
well, that I'm not. I just use that as an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah, but to be nervous, that's a healthy nervous. That's different than being nervous for no reason.
Mm.
You were nervous because you were entering into the unknown, into a new domain. So everybody is nervous. Greg and I, Greg Suki and I did shows for 3¼ years. We laughed at our early shows. And he said, I used to think you knew everything. Now I know better.
Yeah.
It's,
But don't you see it like we you know better all the time?
no, that's bullshit. Total bullshit. That's the bullshit of 3P. You're just not accepting they're human beings. And sometimes people say to me, well, why do we need to listen to Sid? If we're all perfect inside all the time.
No, yeah, but I meant, yeah, but I might mean that you got inside all your life. That's how I meant.
Well, you're always inside, but it's levels on the personal level, it's levels of consciousness. You have to get the comment. Yes, pure consciousness is always there. And we have access to that, and we're connected to that pure consciousness. Yes, that's the spiritual reality. But on a human
level, and you open up for more and more and more.
That's levels of consciousness. That's as your level and the universal level become one. Yes, that's the way it is. But you're a thinker. And you know how you think. So you can't pretend. That's not all yummy stuff. It's not, oh, the oneness of God. This is a shithead, this who I'm talking to. This is the big difference. And that's your opinion. You have an opinion. That automatically, and it's there for a reason. You're right.
Yeah, and I go in and out of my thinking all life.
All the time. You're never going to stop doing that. So you have to have a balance between everything is perfect and everything is imperfect.
And I can see when I have been at work, now I've been working all the weekend, and when I came home after lunch, I was very tired, and then my thinking is going, and I'm tired. And nowadays I know that, okay, I'm tired now. I just need to go to the sofa and lay down and just rest. And then I can see after an hour or two that something heals itself. Like,
yeah, it's your natural reset. It's like Dr. Roger Mills used to teach self-esteem, which is your spirit expressing itself. And he had a beaker with water. He just used it as a metaphor. And there was a cork on the water. And when you put your hand down on the cork goes down. What happens when you take your hand off? The cork bounces up.
Yeah.
That's your mental health. Naturally, that's what happens, but we push the cork down from being overtired or mental negative energy.
And then my sister phoned me today, and do you want to take a bath in a hot bath, in the spa? Yeah. So I went over to my sister, and I was lying there. I'm just I work in the older care, so I was very tired in my body. I've helped many people the whole weekend, and we were laying there in the bath and talked and just and I said, oh my God, I need to go home. I'm going to record with Harry now.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to read some.
Now I feel
Yeah, but you're going to find when this is over, after about 15 minutes, some of that tiredness will come back. See, this is what happens is this is an elevated level of consciousness. And we experience that, but then we go back into our ordinary level of consciousness. And that's the difference of, we're not always in elevated levels of consciousness because we're here to learn something on this plane. And as part of this plane, these negative scenarios keep us grounded, keep us here. They attract us. So we need them. We need those to stay on this earth. A lot of people think, no, it's just bad stuff. It isn't bad stuff. It's just a personal interpretation of good and bad, which is nonsense. There's no bad stuff. It's just, don't tell me God doesn't know what God is doing. God knows. Don't ask me what God is, but God knows. There's something that greater intelligence knows. It's the big picture. We're in the little picture, and God is in the big picture.
But it's not always I feel like that.
No.
But I hear you, and I something in me says that's true, but I have doubts about it when my mood is low.
Well, of course, see, that's where you have to dig in and go deeper inside yourself. That's the purpose of it. It's to force you to see the truth. The truth is no answers outside, all answers inside. Outside can be fun, but it's limited fun. And if you do it too much, it becomes an obsession or an addiction. So you need a balance between the outside and the inside. And when you find that balance, you feel easy, you feel open, you feel peaceful, you feel gratitude. You're naturally confident, naturally enthusiastic, because it's easy. And then the other comes along and you're tested. Is it a belief that you have, Cecilia, or is it the truth? And if it's a belief, you want it blown out of the water, because now you're growing faster than you were before. And this is good experience to teach you that you don't know everything, you're not invincible, and you need other people. It's so simple. Obviously, we need each other. Are we doing the show where I'm just talking in the mirror? No, I'm talking to Cecilia, right?
Yeah, but we don't need a system that points us to that something is wrong with us, like I was going into before.
Yeah, exactly. It took you the wrong way.
Yeah, and
that was good. That was good because it showed you what was false. But what happened when you uncovered the three principles, you not only saw what was bullshit, you saw what was true.
I do, but I really don't know why God wanted me to see that for.
The bullshit or the truth?
The bullshit.
Oh, I just told you why, because you're a stubborn asshole. Excuse the expression, you're just stubborn, you really believed in your own opinion.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. See that when, that's why you have to have compassion for other people's suffering, because they're you. They're just as stupid as you are. But you found I don't have to suffer quite so much. You've had compassion for yourself. And now you're learning to have compassion for other people. Tolerance that other people think different, experience different. And we need them because they're showing us a little jewel that we see. There's something Cecilia, that I don't. I promise you that's true. There's something you really understand. And if I could see that, I could have it too. You're a treasure chest. And then you open it up and all these treasures. But most people, they're running away from the treasures. They're more interested in their own treasure. Oh no, I gotta keep it. It's my treasure. No, you got to open up. If there's a whole menagerie of treasure chests out there, and each one will make me wiser. Each one will teach me about something that I'm afraid of, or have not, or had a blind spot with. Isn't it worthwhile going through a little bit of irritation to find that peace and freedom?
Yes, it is. But it's sometimes difficult because they believe that they need to take these medicines and therapies and everything and
So that's what they do.
yeah, it's difficult to
But you have to be careful that because they're taking the medicines, that you're still realizing they're on a spiritual journey and you're seeing their beauty, not how stupid they are. It's up to you to see. Everybody has mental health, and then they experience it in different ways. And some of them play a game. It's just a game. It's just, it's too bad they're playing that game. But you know yourself, you were playing it too.
Yeah, I really did. And do sometimes. I have moments, I still moments like that, but it's not like.
But now for your growth,
Yeah.
you have to stop talking about what you used to do.
Yeah.
And you have to talk about happiness. I'm happy now.
Yeah.
And this is what it feels like. That's what you talk about. You don't go back and say, oh, by the way, I was a shithead. You just
no, I couldn't see it then. I didn't know better.
I know, but now you know better.
Yeah,
so
I know better now, and
so that's what you talk about.
Yeah.
If you want more know better, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's your mind. You go wherever you want to go with it. You got free will. So you might as well uncover more about happiness and contentment and talk about it. And as you guide the people into that, you model what you're teaching.
I have seen in some of my recordings when I'm up in my sharing, I talk about what I have seen now. I can see that I'm like some filling up with passion or light, or I can see that I really feel that it's coming from the inside, and that's why I want to share that. Look inside.
Well, that's because you are looking inside now, so it's become interesting. Before it was only in the outside was more interesting. Now the inside is more interesting. That's what happened to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm not here even. I'm going, is it, I'm not even here. I'm not, like, I just don't care anymore. People care about this or that. And I go, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't even want to be involved in that. And I'm just learning more how to do that. So I spent a week with my sister and her husband in Puerto Vallarta, and we have very strong differing opinions about politics and money, etc. But we also have an incredible growing bond as a brother and a sister and as two beings, and her husband as well. And I just kept away from all the negative topics that we would have arguments about. I just totally kept away from it. And all we did was play for a week. And the feeling was light and stuff. And if something didn't work out, we laughed, and we just enjoyed that we were on holiday with a panoramic view and the pool and all this stuff. And we didn't get into any of that stuff that we would fight about. And it just was so easy. And that's all I'm telling everyone to do. Keep away from all that negativity. And one day it won't be negative. It just changes in your mind, and you'll see it for what it is. And people will say something that used to trigger you, and it doesn't trigger you anymore. It's so simple. If you talk about and live in positive feelings and don't talk about what is a debate or a contest between two different human beings' opinion, like the Palestinians and Israel, then you'll see there is an answer. I just did a show on the beyond the similarities and differences of Islam, Judaism, with Ruby Kauser and the Israeli Yael Abramson. It was so beautiful. See, there was no difference. There was just oneness. That's what it's about. In oneness, there's peace. In separation, there's differences of opinion. Marriages, same thing. Two people and then they end up being isolated islands. They're together, but they're not together. They're not listening to each other. They're living separate realities. And then at a certain point, they'd separate. They've separated long before they separated. Long before. Because they're not nourishing positive feelings. They're not talking about the good feelings they have for each other. They're laughing at the other person with their friends, because that's the way women do about men and men do about women. But it's nonsense. We need each other. And so you learn to cultivate those things. So what used to be a fight is now a delicious 1 week holiday, having fun. And what do? What do I do? You listen to what they want to do. That's what you do. You don't tell them what you want to do. You listen to what they want to do. And guess what? That's what they want to do. They don't want to do what you want to do. They want to do what they want to do. And so you do it. And then they start to relax and realize it's going to be an easy time. And that's what it is. And then they start to show you things that they know. What is wrong with people? They're not listening to other people and what they know. Everybody's talking about their world. I'm doing this, 3P. I'm doing that, and I'm going, well, what about me? I'm doing a lot of stuff too. In fact, better than what you're doing, way better. Aren't you interested? No, I'm not interested. I want to talk about me. It's just nonsense.
I talk in my YouTube channel, but I feel like I want to have a guest every time, because I really want to have this conversation like we have now.
Well, it's course, and it's why, but you have to realize if I found it boring, I wouldn't do it. Like, I'm not just doing this. I don't need exposure, obviously. I'm doing it because it's fun.
I'm happy for that, Harry. I really,
It's the
it
truth.
feels very nice
I
for
would
me.
never do this if it wasn't fun, or
No.
I didn't feel you were growing from it. Oh no, I'd be the first one. I
I
got
love that you want to do it with me, because I really love it too.
Well, you keep growing, and it inspires me. It's great to see and I'm getting to know another person. And the other thing, men are not talking to women. I love talking to women. They have feelings. They talk about the world. How am I going to know about feelings? If you want to know about feelings, men should talk to women.
Yeah, we are good at that.
You're good at it. And I like it. I like it. Sometimes you're full of nonsense, and sometimes you can be a little naggy, and all this type of stuff. But if you want to know about feelings, especially how easy it is, if does it always have to be about sex? No offense, but does it always have to be about that? That's nonsense. What it is two souls coming together. And I work with a ton of women. I'm the training director of Back to the Fitra Mentoring Academy. 98% of them are women around the world, Muslim women, no less, type of thing. But oh man, the feelings, it's like, how nourishing, how delicious. Men are just missing the boat. So are women, of course, they need men. They need men. It's just a fact. Everyone knows in a relationship, men provide a lot. Women just stop admiring it after a while. That's all. I got to have my freedom, my independence. Bunch of bullshit. Just have to have a good relationship. That's all you have to have. And yeah, you have to love yourself and all that stuff. But all that nonsense, outside stuff, that's ridiculous type of thing. All you're doing is losing the man. That's all. You're pushing him away. That's all you're doing. And if you have such good taste, how come you can't see when a guy likes you? What's the big deal? If you're so smart and always pick the wrong guy, is that, Sid had a saying, a dog that barks up the wrong tree is not much of a hunter. And it's true. It's true. And I look around and I see men like all these guys, older guys, some of them are such jewels. Of course, they're not handsome, and maybe they don't have $1 million, and maybe they're not your ideal thing, but they've got big feelings, lonely. All these women missing the boat, these lonely men, these jewels, just doesn't make sense to me. But that's
my husband and I, we met each other when we were 15 years. And he always say, I love you very, very much. I will always want to be with you. And he has been there, even if I was so depressed, and he was always there.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
We need that. We need that.
Yeah.
We need that. The reality is most of the time we can handle what life, but sometimes it just gets too much. And then to put your hand on someone else's shoulder is like the greatest gift in the world. Sometimes we need to be carried for a little while.
Yeah, it's like my best friend. I can be myself, and yeah.
So you talk about that, talk to people about what that means. That's
Yeah.
that's what you share. You don't share 3P bullshit.
But
Who
it's
who
like
cares?
people think about relationship that it must be so passion all the time, and so good and lucky, and I feel like we are best friends, and uh, we can do things together, and we can do things on our own, and but we are always having each other.
Yeah. And as you grow, he'll change in front of your eyes. He'll be new. You see, the reason the man gets old is because you're not growing. If you're growing, you'll see his sharing. You'll see what he's bringing to the picture. And you'll see that even if you totally love him, you'll see that there's a lot more to love. And he'll change before your very eyes because your attitude will be different.
Before, when maybe it was when our kids was younger, and they are adults now, but before we could argue about things easily, but today we don't do that. It's not it's not often we argue with each other.
Yeah, well, you just because you have a healthy relationship, you've learned to drop the things that took you away from the feeling. See, that's what a relationship is about. If
But in the beginning, sorry.
If you have bad habits, like when a couple comes together, it's the love that attracts them. Or God, the God feeling between them attracts them. But each person has bad habits, guaranteed. And what happens is these bad habits interfere with the flow of love between the couple. But if the intimacy is there, you start to give up your bad habits. You start to see that you want the harmony rather than the disharmony. And at the same time, you don't lose yourself. You don't give up what you think, what you feel for the other person, but you learn about how to complement each other. And within that, you deal with your fears and your insecurities and your addictive negative habits. But you start to see that together is more beautiful than not being together. And if once you have that gratitude, you've won the race. You're the turtle beats the hare. Once you see that you're better off with this beautiful person, with his bad habits, or with his bullshit, then you've got it. And then what happens is you just grow and grow, because that's all you're looking for. You're not looking for see, if you're looking for his bad habits and want to change them, guaranteed you'll find them. But the problem is you'll destroy the relationship. But if you see that the love and the intimacy is more important, what will happen is your consciousness will automatically keep looking for that. You see, consciousness is the answer to every problem in the universe. Every problem in the universe is caused by lack of consciousness. And once your consciousness becomes aware that you've been bullshitting yourself, like telling yourself a story, like I was telling myself about being angry. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Harry's bullshit. Harry's bullshit. I believe in Harry's bullshit. And then one day I didn't. I became a nicer person overnight. Just like that. Because Harry saw his bullshit. That's all couples are doing now. They're seeing their bullshit instead of their beauty. They're not talking about how great the guy is or how wonderful the guy is or what he contributes or how he's helped them. They're caught up in some kind of illusion. And everybody else is doing it, so why shouldn't they? But you know yourself, if you follow the herd, you might get trampled, beaten. But when there's a herd and there's a little baby, the mother takes care of the baby. Make sure it doesn't get trampled. That's how you should be with your husband. Make sure he doesn't get trampled. Then, you're compassionate and you're loving.
And now I know that like Bill Petit says about about the love letters, that I also feel them when I come home from my job and I'm tired and my mood is a little down. If we start a discussion, then I will only see the habits. But if I rest and don't discuss right there, it's not a problem after an hour or.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to talk when you're tired. So you recognize that you don't have your A game. See,
Yeah.
what happens to me, that let's say you're a client of mine. Oh, and let's say, normally I'm feeling pretty good. You know that, right? What do I feel good all the time?
No.
Absolutely correct. And what happens when I don't feel good? And you say you're a client. What do I do?
Yeah, your mood is going down and your thinking is
No, but
not
what?
so nice.
Yeah, but what do I do?
Your consciousness is going down.
No, I'm aware, consciously aware that I'm not in my A game. So do you know what I do? Here's the trick. Because you're going to do this. You're going to have to do something when you're feeling lousy. The trick is pick up energy from the other person. Know you're full of shit. You haven't got anything to offer at this moment at all. Zero. And pick up energy off the other person.
If they got the energy.
They always have the energy. They always have the energy. You just have to get them talking. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves? Who? Have you met one yet?
I don't know. No, maybe not.
Maybe not. So, so just ask them a question about themselves and let them talk. And then what you notice is after a little while, you go, oh, I'm back. I'm home. And then you can start, but you can't lead when you're the lower person. That's bullshit. That's ridiculous. I'm the head, that's ridiculous. There's a law, and most people don't know the law. In the room, if you're with the President of the United States, the King of Siam, and the Queen of England, and the Prime Minister of Canada, and you're just the lowly washing toilets, if you're the highest level of consciousness, you control that meeting. If you understand you're secure. But if you play the game the way the world plays it, then you just give away all your power. So the rule is the highest level of consciousness in the room leads the conference, leads the moment. It doesn't matter what your title is, but you've got to be careful that if you're not the highest level of consciousness, you don't open your big mouth and start leading. That's all. It's really easy. And what happens is it teaches you to sit. If you can sit in your own negativity, you can sit in their negativity. And that's the key to listening to people. You have to be able to sit in their negativity. And guess what happens to the negativity, Cecilia? It disappears. It just vanishes by itself without you doing anything. It's only when you interfere with it, with your opinion of what it is, that it stays negative. See how easy it is if you get out of the way? You can be bummed out, not bummed out, but tired, just, life threw a bunch of stuff and it rattled you. Doesn't matter. You're not doing it. It's God's doing it. You're along for the show and getting out of the way. And the more you get out of the way, you see, I was in Mexico and a wave hit me and I had I hit my head against the sand. I had big blood here, black eye, broken tooth, bad back, bad neck, couldn't move my neck. And I just went into the silence. And I attracted a project to work in the refugee camp in Uganda. Just like that. Just showed up. Man, 100,000 people in the refugee camp. It was with a school. We're going in tomorrow. Myself and 2 Africans. In the silence, it attracted. And teaching at a university, and in the silence, it attracts. I was doing nothing. I was on holiday. You get out of the way, it happens. You get in the way, it stops. It's like putting your finger in the hole and plugging it up. But the problem is, you put your finger in the hole might eat. If there's an animal on the other side, it will eat your finger. And that's what people are doing. They're interfering with God. They're wasting their time with their personal opinion about that. Sid had a saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but he had a better one, pearls to swine, which he interpreted as no sense wasting your time talking to a blithering idiot. The world is a blithering idiot. The world's messed. Psychology, backwards. Economy, greed. Personal life, lustful. It's just so bullshit. And yet, it keeps working. It keeps evolving. Who's keeping it together? It's not man, that's for sure. We are destroying it. So it's not us. Who's keeping it together? What's allowing Sweden to have all their social programs and when the people are so bummed out? Who's doing it? God's doing it. Who's taking care of Cecilia? Was it Cecilia? No. Cecilia got out of the way.
Definitely not.
Definitely. And how do I know that? Because it's the same. Harry has the same story.
Yeah. And over again with all the people out there. Yeah.
So it's
so why do we do that?
Because we're stupid. Because we're stupid. That's why.
We're stupid, yes.
That's why. And that's what being ordinary is. You are vulnerable. You are stupid. But you have to forgive yourself. With forgiveness, it's okay to be stupid. But people don't forgive themselves. They pretend they're perfect. I've got money. I can hide behind it. Everybody.
Oh, they don't know. They don't know how they function.
Well, there you go. And once you learn how you function, you start to function more wisely.
Yeah.
The 3 principles are just tools to use wisely. And that's all. Your story is the same as mine. See, we're not brought together by accident. That's bullshit. We're brought together by God. And I have to say yes. And how do I know it's yes? The feeling tells me. This pain in the ass woman from Sweden, what do I need her for?
Maybe there's another Swedish people asking you to be in their YouTube channel.
Well, whatever,
But you
again,
chosen mine, so thank you.
I chose you, look how it happened. You wanted to come work at the addiction with Back to the Future. I says, no way you're going to do that. But I could sense there was something there. And you had something to offer. You wanted to do a show. And I said, well, I can train her on the show. Instead of, getting together, I don't really want her as a client. We'll do a show. And, and at the same time, you became friends with Aisha. And so you're helping each other type of thing. And if you grow, you help Aisha. And Aisha grows, she helps you. And if I grow, I help Aisha and Cecilia. And it's, and that's the way it works. And see,
yeah, we lift each other up.
See, I'm the addiction training director for Back to the Future Mentoring Camp, and we're really doing, right now, Africa's really opening up. I have images. All of them are bullshit. Sometimes I have a vision. Now that's different. Visions are facts of what you can see into the future. Opinions and beliefs, everything that's evolved and happening is happening. I'm putting out good energy, but I'm not seeing what, what's the big picture here? And that's the problem with people. They want to know. The moment you know, it's already old. You want to know about the unknown. How do I play in the unknown? Not the known. If you already know it. You want to know about how do I play in the unknown? And how do I let this dream I have of helping people unfold? You see, you create and God listens. God here's your intent. Here's your heart, and opens it up, but never the way you think. That's why truth mostly comes through the back door. Very rarely through the front door. It's almost always, oh, somebody's here in the back door. I'm looking in the front door. Knock, 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 knock. Just open the front door. Nobody there. Knock, 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 knock. Finally you go, and you go, oh, look at this. Somebody opened the back door, walked in, had a cup of coffee, and brought you some pastries, some Danish strudel. There you go. Thank you. I like Danish strudel. Yum. That's all. That's all that's happening. We're not in control. In my new book, I wrote, I'd rather be a pawn in God's game than the king in my own game. And I mean it. I am a pawn. And here's the trick. So was Sid. So was Sid. He's just a big, maybe he was a bishop or maybe even the queen, but he's just a piece on the board to the story that's happening. And that's what you are. You're part of the story now. You see, it's more than just sharing. You have to be part of the story to know what the story is. That's what's happened to you and me. We're more part of the story than before. And we like it. And as long as we don't think about it, it will keep happening. And the moment you start thinking about it, it will stop.
Yeah, it really is like that.
It's kind of like the tap turned on and you shut the tap off, turn the tap off. You go, where's the water? Well, you shut the tap off. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just that, that type of thing. And you're picking it up, you're growing. And you don't grow faster than you have to grow. You just grow at your pace and you accept it. You don't have to be the king of Siam. You just don't always have to wash
I
out
had to accept it. I wanted to control everything before, but now I don't do that because
Yeah.
I know now. I
Yeah.
know better.
You know better, but you still have a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like me. It's beautiful. The biggest gift I have is Sid Banks because he's so much wiser than me. I don't have to pretend I'm Sid Banks, that I'm the all-knowing guru. It's so much easier just being Harry.
Yeah.
It's a piece of cake being Harry. It's a big problem trying to be Sid Banks. Because I'm not.
Yeah.
And,
I don't try that.
well, but maybe you didn't have such a big ego like I had.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't. I had a lot of doubt about myself. So it was the opposite. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about, it was the opposite, really. Everyone was better than me. Yeah, no, but I feel like I'm growing. Like I can do this.
Oh, I know you're growing.
And sometimes I feel like, oh, who's going to listen to my to maybe they want to listen to Harry, but who's going to listen to me? But I know that's the
That's right.
thinking.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, that's nonsense, and I just need to don't listen to that.
See, the rule is if you help one person, the show is a success. And you've already helped yourself, so that's one person.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but if somebody else listens to the show,
Yeah.
one person, I'd rather have one person. Say you had, sometimes when we had addiction, alcoholism, the 3 principles, we'd have 30 people. Every once in a while, we only had 2 or 3 people besides it. Those shows were easily as good as the 30 people. In fact, in many ways, they were deeper because you just went with the state of mind of the person. So you're not looking for quantity, you're looking for quality.
Yeah.
And so if you help one person where they were suffering and you save them 2 months of suffering by this one feeling that you helped the person grab hold of, the show is a phenomenal success because you've contributed to the positive feelings of the universe.
Like you say, I helped me.
You help you.
And I still help me when I need it.
Yeah.
When I need to remind myself, I help me.
So I want to read this from Sid's, just a short little thing, but I want to read it. I was planning to.
Go ahead.
I was going to teach it, but it turns out we talked about it. Pointing to the sky, Andy replied, "The knowledge you seek regarding human behavior is beyond the written or spoken word. This is why I ask you to look for a deeper dimension of thought. The trouble is, not too many understand the enormous difference between one's personal thoughts and the universal principle called thought. However, this I can guarantee you, no matter who you are in this life, such knowledge can only be uncovered from deep within your own inner consciousness. But the part that really fascinates me, and which is as a pursuit, Sid's talking about a deeper dimension of thought. And a lot of people are talking about personal thought. You want to talk about spiritual thought. That's where the goodies are, in my opinion. You know, each person has to find it in their own way. But I have dedicated my life to trying to understand the principle of thought, rather than personal thinking, personal thoughts, and analyzing that from that perspective. That's why I've been able to grow and be allowed to share with people. Not everybody recognizes me. I understand that. Who cares? Who cares? I've always been independent. I've always been the guy out in the front, not following the band type of thing. That's who I am. I'm a kind of a crazy maverick guy. But I honor Sid's teachings. And he's talking about a deeper dimension of thought, not personal thoughts. You want to understand that side of the picture, but concentrate on the spiritual side of life. That's where the real goodies, that's what I believe. But of course, I was kind of that type of guy. So of course, for me, it was a lot easier getting into the spiritual dimension of life rather than the psychological dimension. Psychologically, I was just a basket case, just a pain in the ass right across the board. And guess what? I still am.
Maybe I'm also I'm that girl.
Yeah. So look for the spiritual. And people, at 65, I really felt that I hadn't achieved what Sid really had a dream for me to do. And for 4 years, I went into a hiatus, a quiet, and I didn't have any money, and I just went quiet and lived really simply. And after 4 years, I looked around, and everybody looked like including in the 3P world, looked like they were chickens running around without their heads on. And I looked back and I said, when did I become a nicer person? By going quiet, I had stopped participating in all the stuff that, 3P's doing this, I gotta do this, I'm not getting it here. I just dropped all of that. And then one day, I had a talk with God. And I said, God, I've got no beefs. This life is incredible. It's so simple. It's so easy. But I'm getting a little bored. I wouldn't mind a little more stimulation, and I wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of what I know. And I went to bed. And I woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 9:01, the phone rang. And this guy said, Harry, I don't know if you remember me, but you taught me 10 years ago. And I'm doing this project in a recovery center, a small little project for an hour and a half a week. And I've been offered another job. Can you come take it over? And I went, I hate addiction. Ooh, this is terrible. Nothing I'm worse at than addiction. I wasn't that good at anything, but I wasn't good at addiction. But I just talked to God. I said, well, better give it a shot. And I loved it. I just loved it. I had changed. I wasn't trying to fix anyone anymore. I was just sharing my wisdom. And they loved it. And they loved the jokes. They loved the lightness. They loved the spiritual aspects of it. And I had an audience. And get this, Cecilia, they listened because they knew what they were in was bullshit. And here was something fresh and new that might save them from being that same, going to the recovery place, going to rehab, and then coming out, making some money, and 6 months later back on the street and all their money gone again, back in the recovery center. And I just started to love it. And as I loved it, it exploded. Everything in my life had been little waves, little waves. All of a sudden, I caught a big wave. And guess what? Turns out I was a pretty good surfer. You know why? Because I didn't think about it. I just rode the wave. Live, people. Stop thinking so much. You're destroying who you are. I think it's a good place to call it a story.
It is, Harry.
Yeah. So thank you once again, Cecilia.
It's me thanking you.
We'll do one more, but we'll wait a little bit. One more because you can feel the energy, can't you?
I really do. I really do. It's a lot of feeling.
Yeah,
Good feeling.
That's what it is. And you're allowing me to talk. You're allowing me to share. I have a lot to share. I've just come back from Mexico and all this newness. I don't even know what's in there anymore.
So you come back in the
in a month.
In a month. Okay.
Okay,
I love it. I love it.
Okay, you have fun, and we'll chit chat again, and keep growing, keep enjoying, and keep sharing.
And you see yourself on YouTube in a couple of days.
Okay, sounds.
Thank you very much, Harry.
Okay.
See you. Yeah. Bye bye.